I'm Achilles, jumping on the cast alongside Avril yet again. We'll be bringing you the action for the final two series of the evening. Coming up next, we have the Chengdu Hunters getting ready to duke it out against the Shanghai Dragons. And when it comes down to Chengdu, we never know how this is going to go, Avril. This could get very down and dirty.
Yeah, I mean, look, Chengdu are the kind of team that I have been described to me as they're capable of winning a tournament, but also they're capable of going very close to Valiant, which is kind of what we saw yesterday. So the Chengdu zone, it exists. Get used to it. It's fun. It's chaotic. It's anything you want it to be, really. But for Chengdu, I hope for them, it also means that they can maybe pop out a win as well. So sometimes chaos can lead you into a sort of situation where you maybe confuse your opponent, something like that. Chengdu have certainly got a tough game ahead of them tonight versus Shanghai. We expect Shanghai to be great, and while for Chengdu, they're going to need to step up big time.
Yeah, they are, and one of the big players that's going to have to step up for Chengdu is Leave, of course. I mean, he has been a star, you know, a fairly silent star, I guess, because he kind of gets drowned out in the chaos, but we will be taking a closer look at him versus Lip.
And here's the thing as well, I'm glad we're looking towards Ashe stats. People don't know this, but Leave has actually got a really great Ashe. He plays a little bit. I mean, we saw yesterday versus Valiant, he did bring it out kind of. Lip plays the Ashe on the team for Shanghai Dragons. You also have DM coming in sometimes for that one. Personally, for me, Leave is really, really underrated in the Overwatch League. He is by far, in my opinion, the best Chinese Overwatch player. Notice I didn't say Overwatch League, I just said Overwatch, all of Overwatch. I think he's really just that good. Leave is incredible for this team. Leave on the Chengdu Hunters is like, in my opinion, like he's the guy. He's like the prophet of this team. When, you know, prophet for Seoul, to me, Leave is Chengdu, right? That's the first guy I think of when I think about Chengdu Hunters. So Leave has got quite a big job to do tonight versus Flitter, versus Lip, versus even DN. Chengdu, they're still kind of trying to, in my opinion, figuring out their roster a little bit. Here you go. Starting lineup's going to be Jinmu back on with Leave. They got two more other DPSs. In fact, they got 2 extra roles across the board. They got 12 players in total. I actually think it would be good for Leave and Kaneki to be playing together. Kaneki's got a really great tracer, and then you could put Leave on that Ashe. And I think for this, though, with Jinmu coming in especially early, now Jinmu's been playing a lot of the Fire. We saw yesterday he really came in big on that Fire. Is he going to do that again? And if he does, I mean, is that going to work? Because you got Flitter on the other team, you got Lip on the other team. Flitter's going to go Echo. Lip could go any sort of hit scan. It's pretty dangerous for Jinmu.
Yeah, I mean, keeping him protected from the skies is a really big order. That's going to fall to Nisha, as we still haven't seen Gibraltar yet. It's only been 2 days, you know, so still plenty of time for him to come through. But here's going to be our Shanghai Dragons starting roster. We'll not be seeing DM so far. We'll be Fleta, Lip, Fate, Void, Lee Jae-gong, and Izayaki. I mean, these guys, you know, there's not really a situation that they can't handle, at least seemingly. Close first series, you know, did have a draw come through versus the Charge just yesterday. But like you said, the Chengdu Zone, it absolutely does exist. It's not like Elo Hell, which is made up. So the Chengdu Zone is a very real place.
It's self-inflicted.
We've all witnessed it. There's no Bermuda Triangle nonsense going on here. It's a very real location, and Chengdu is going to be looking to take the Dragons there. Going to be starting things on Oasis for Control. Control always, notably, is going to be super chaotic, and that is where Chengdu excels, so maybe they could start the series off with a win.
And maybe versus a team like Shanghai as well, going to the Chengdu zone actually gives them quite a lot to work with. I think versus teams that they're expected to beat, that's when it works against them. This is why you have the fluctuations and expectations. This is why for a team like Chengdu, you know, they can get good games versus teams like Shanghai, which is what I'm expecting tonight, and then they can also go very close to Valiant. Then let's take a look at an opening composition to start things out with. Gaga Elsa on the Winston Zarya, not even doing the ball here. Gaga to me is one of, if not the best ball in the league currently. And I know he's just entered, he's only played like 1 game, but trust me, the ball is really, really good. They're going to be on the double bubble early. Fate coming through on the ball.
Waiting above, comes down. So just swing through, but gets shield bash instantly, so it doesn't go for the pile driver to get the big knock-up. Gaga just playing around the side. With this Winston, Lee Jae-gong under quite a lot of pressure, pulls back around the corner, trying to stay safe. The flashbang not going to connect. He's still going to be alive, and Void still somehow kept this mech. Bionate does connect onto both the supports here for the side of the Shanghai Dragons, but they haven't been able to capitalize on that. Don't get the kills there. So far, just going to be knocking Void out of that mech. Now with Izayaki and Lee Jae-gong falling, the extended fight is going to be won. Initial cap goes the way of Shanghai Dragons, but it's going to be a very fast turnaround here for Chengdu.
I think that's maybe Lip or Flitter, one of the two actually going towards that. Flitter gets, I think he got stunned up there, and then the, obviously Bionate comes and pulls him up from Monk. That initial manual hack from Jinmu onto Void sets things up beautifully. Void can't do anything, no defensive matrix. Then you get the Bionate onto Lee Jae-gong and Izayaki. From that point on with Shanghai always on the back foot, they get the back cap, and only now can Chengdu match that 13%, but this is where I'm looking towards Jinmu, 81%, Lip owning on 64.
Yeah, it's a really solid start for Jinmu, who, I mean, we thought was going to be, you know, a surefire pickup just to be playing the Pharah, but does show us that is not just quite a one-trick, so still going to be looking into the back. He's looking for Izayaki here.
He needs to farm.
Might not know that Izayaki nearly has this Transcendence and now gets it online. Live at the same time, going to be able to match. Jinmu falls, the EMP is going to come out immediately, catches 3. The Nano Boost out from Monk. Does go on to Gaga, so throws it out, but flat up finds 2 with the Pulse. The cleanup comes through. That is just going to be a team ace. And we just go ahead and flip it right back over into the favor of the Shanghai Dragons. So 43% on the board, and with that extra 13, Shanghai are that much closer to tying it up yet again.
And the problem here is, you saw from Jinmu's POV, he's not farming. He's waiting for a manual hack opportunity. He's waiting for something else to happen. While he's chilling, sitting on his hands, Lip is actually farming the EMP. He catches up, lands EMP, void blinds Jinmu, gets a solo kill, and that's it going to be for Chengdu. Here comes that double EMP. Izyaki's already dead, so no trance.
Yeah, doesn't get to use the transit. I mean, dead before the EMP even came out. Couldn't save himself. Leave just taking him out that quickly. It will be rally for rally at the moment, but now with Lip gone, Eichenwalde trying to stay alive, has to kite back to keep himself in this fight, get that armor rolling up. Fate falling low, can't get the primal online in time. Void just going to let the mech get crumpled. This will be a cleanup, and it's just a very swift back and forth here. Chengdu quick on the reply.
And it's both teams finding opportunities to get that EMP in there. The cleanup now for the rest of Chengdu is really getting back into finding those percentage points on that cap, with Izayaki gone early, then the rest of the EMP collecting. EJ gone even with the rally. Can't quite get enough armor to save the team. So we're going back and forth between Lip and Jinmu, and now we're going to go swing back towards the Lip side of things as far as that pendulum goes. 71%, still a little bit of farming to go. He's pressuring the point, looking for opportunities.
Yeah, we'll go ahead, translocate out. They nearly get the flip on the point. Pulse bomb out from Fleta, finds Nisha. A great pickoff from him early. Monk's still going to be alive into the fight, but the grab gets eaten by Void. Now Elsa does fall. Huge plays from the Shanghai Dragons as they look to get this back into the favor. The Deadeye from Leave only going to be able to find Fleta. The rest of the team still here, still pounding, still picking up kills for the side of Shanghai. Trying to get some knocks here into the car. Will be Lip sent off the side. Gaga does manage to get one with the Primal Rage. Shanghai Dragons are right back into the point. A little minor delay there from Jinmu for a moment, trying to fish out, get that EMP up and running. The rest of the team now collapsing as Chengdu look to take us up to 99%, but the flip comes in as Monk barely gets pushed off the point, and now both supports fall in the back end of the fight.
Yeah, I don't know if they're just pushing for a few extra percentage points there. It's going to be worth it for Chengdu. They've given away a lot of Volt Charge. There's late deaths here as well. So it's not just like they got extra percentage. I mean, Gaga's going to be thankful to get out of that situation. Elsa, maybe not so much here. This is going to go potentially 99 both sides, or more realistically 99 for the Shanghai Dragons. Lip is ready to go. Not great defense on the side of Chengdu. Jinmu's not quite on the EMP, and Lip's going to go first.
Well, they're just looking to fight them off the point. The EMP comes in. Nisha does fall. They get a follow-up to hacks as Jinmu will be eliminated, but the EMP reply from Jinmu was absolutely massive, and now Elsa manages to find 2. Chengdu Hunters still without that Sombra, need to make their way over to the point. They do so right now as Eichenwalde gets taken down before he can use the rally. Izayaki still going to be 28% away from the Transcendence, needs to get that online. Void barely makes it back into the mech safely. We're at 99% here. A flip for Chengdu Hunters almost certainly means the round victory. They're going to be hungry for it. They continue to play forward here on the point. Jinmu, however, off of the flank, does get taken down. A huge pickup there from Lip and Fleta. He does still have this pulse bomb. He's looking for backline access, lobs it down, tries to get lead. He's unable to find him. Electric Cowboy coming through, but the Deadeye's not going to be able to lead to any kills. Now just taking some pot shots, gets a great headshot in on the Lee J. Gone. Izayaki, the Transcendence expires. The self-destruct from Elsa, perfectly timed, finds the kill. It's only going to be a trade out from Monk so far. Nisha down to half HP as Leaf continues to fan the hammers, taking damage from all sides, and will fall in the end. Lip coming up with the kill, but now no front line. The EMP committed to the fight here by Lip, only catches 2. They cannot get any follow-up whatsoever off the back of it. 95%, still no tanks alive. They're waiting to respawn. Chengdu, have they done it?
Gaga's got the Primal here as well, so it might just be the case. Monk used the Nano to leave, but it came from to great effect. There's no ultimates available. Fleta dies at 99.
He dies, yeah. Now has to rejoin the fight, hopefully. For his sake, the rest of the Shanghai Dragons can delay this. Void, however, bio-nated, flies up top, gets chased down by Elsa, and they break him out of the mech. They finish off the Baby Diva. Fate now going to be hacked. Lip eliminated. It seems so very good here for Chengdu as their HP bars are just not getting chipped away at whatsoever. Everybody collapsed in onto Fate, and it would all come down to Fleta with this pulse. He recalls off the point for just a second, and that's long enough for the OT to bleed away. 100% to 99. Chengdu Hunters draw first blood as they take city center.
And Chengdu, they were looking like maybe they didn't have the tenacity to stay in that fight towards the end there as well. I look back over towards Monk, getting the nano, popping onto Leave, who was on the McCree, and that electric cowboy gives him a lot of legs to walk on. That really saved them. And it doesn't look good to start with. I mean, they're losing members. I'm pretty sure Shanghai had a 6v5. They had the initial, like Jinmu gets manually hacked and he's there. We see it in this replay as well. Elsa has his grav eaten, and honestly, Elsa was on his last legs anyway. He was on like 1 HP, so even if the grav lands and you're kind of lacking the damage, Elsa dies. Yeah. Gaga's probably next as well. The damage just isn't going to be there, so I don't know that the grav landing would have really won them that fight. And from there on, I thought it was going to be Shanghai.
Well, a good little turnaround victory here from Chengdu so far. Fate now making a swap up as he moves back over onto the Wrecking Ball. Gaga does match. Jinmu now in his comfort zone on the far end, taken to the skies, dropping down, instantly finds Izayaki. DJ gone with a sliver of HP. Will get finished off by Elsa in the end. They collapse it onto Void, and Chengdu Hunters look absolutely phenomenal here at the start of Garden. Fleta has to head for the hills, just get the heck out of Dodge. And Chengdu will yet again lock down this point.
And it's the same neutral fight going the way of Chengdu, where Leave, well this time it's Leave, last time it was Jinmu, but the Sombra players of Chengdu going for Void. You see the manual hack onto Void, Izayaki and Lee Jae onto the targets, get rid of the supports, no defense matrix to come on through, especially important when you are running the fire on your team. Nisha also gets to go onto the Mercy as well, which has been another comfort pick for Chengdu. So I think this specific composition, outside of Leave playing the Tracer, sorry, the Sombra, where he could be on the Tracer, it's like across the board, everyone's favorite pick, everyone's comfort pick on Chengdu.
Yeah, and they're piloting it extremely well. Lip barely survives, but Izayaki falls off screen as Leave scoops a kill. Jinmu now with the barrage online. Could just, you know, hold this. There's no real reason to use it at the moment. Shanghai continue to get picked off one after the other. Just wait for that nano boost to come in, or maybe even the EMP to couple it here with Leave. But high impact ultimates are not really a great way to deny. It's all going to come down to Void, really, to interrupt this barrage with the D-Matrix. Monk, however, does fall. Now the barrage comes in. Not a great angle is the problem. So Jinmu not going to find too much value off the back of that. The pile driver does eliminate Lip, and as Jinmu drops down to the ground, he finds Fleta. So there's no DPS duo alive for the side of Shanghai. Lee Jae absolutely melts under the pressure. As Gaga, he's just going into the back. He wants to get this minefield online. He's going to get punished here in the end, yeah. Minefield going to be used by Fate, in fact. Well off the point, and nobody else nearby to really crash into these.
That's actually an important kill to Gaga, because now there's a timing for Shanghai to maybe make a push happen. They got the kill to Monk, they forced a res from Nisha, the Valkyrie gets popped as well. That was always going to be a fight for Shanghai that wasn't going to go well. They had no ultimates to work with, but now they do. Flip's going to come in, EMP coming.
The counter EMP! It's absolutely huge. Lip only finds Elsa. The counter comes in, catches 5 members, I do believe, on the side of Shanghai Dragons. Jinmu follows up onto Fleta. The self-destruct gets Fate. And this is just not looking great at all. Chengdu Hunters looking to take this 2-0. They're now at 99%. Void has the nano boost, does have the self-destruct. They'll have to let it go. The direct hit in mid-air on the Baby Diva does get the tag. They can't get the kill. Barrage comes in from the side, finds Izayaki. Lee gone. Cuts down Jinmu, taking him out of the skies at least for a little bit longer. Nisha not in a position to try to get that res off, but Elsa is just doing so much work in the meantime over on the point. Finishes off Lee Jae gone. Fleta now going to be hacked. Can't dash, can't recall out. He's just hiding in a corner somewhere, and Gaga has found him. Gets the kill as Lip desperately tries to swap over onto the Soldier 76 to get himself back over to the point, but the OT bleeds away so quickly that Chengdu Hunters just close out Oasis cleanly with a 2-0.
100-0 on that second sub-map as well. What a performance coming through, especially when you look towards the Sombra. I mean, you said it right there. It's Lip only getting Elsa and then Leave getting all 5, or rather 5 others on the other side of things. Insane from Chengdu. And that's a map that's really important for them to win as well, because this was going to be favored for them as far as comfort picks and compositions go. You get to have Jinmu on a fire. You get to have Gaga playing a bull. Nisha's going to go towards a Mercy as well. They're going to be playing picks that are very good for them. When we go forward into some of these other maps, I will have to start questioning, are Chengdu going to be able to, you know, come through on the ball again? Do they have to move towards double bubble? Are we going to see Jinmu being subbed out for Jimmy, and then they go towards a different type of composition? We know Shanghai still have a lot to work with, but that is an insane start for Chengdu and absolutely what they need to get the series underway.
Yeah, just reveling and basking in the chaos of control. We'll see how they fare when we do move into hybrid for our second map, but it's a very strong start from the Chengdu Hunters. Let's see how they fare in the next map, which is going to be coming up in just a few minutes.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile. And by Indeed, we help people get jobs. The Overwatch League is brought to you by Coca-Cola, the official refreshment of the Overwatch League, and by IBM, the official cloud and AI partner of the Overwatch League.
Alrighty, welcome back. What a start. Chengdu Hunters kicking things off with a 2-0 victory on Oasis. Just like you were saying, Avril, playing completely into their comfort. They dismantled the Shanghai Dragons with it there on that second round of Garden. And now, Shanghai, they have to reply with a win on Hybrid to tie this up.
And the thing that's impressing me so much right now about Chengdu is actually in the Sombra play. Like I noted at the start of both the neutrals that we saw in Gardens and also City Center there, they got the initial hack onto Void, a manual hack onto Void, no defensive metrics, go for the supports there, winning both the neutrals. And you have to remember as well, City Center, we had the back cap that gave them, 13% for Shanghai Dragons, and then a bit more back and forth there. I think Void and Flitter overall had a great game. You see the Pulse Bomb, multi-kill, the Void eat on Elsa's Graviton Surge. That really kept Shanghai, primed to be competitive with City Center. Chengdu clutching up hard with the nano onto leave and then getting the frags. Then you look towards Gardens. That one was far more one-sided, 100-0 for Chengdu. Bit of a masterclass of performance coming through from how they're playing their ball dive.
Yeah, it was just beautiful to play. I mean, Elsa as well, really stepping up, just constantly going in, getting the finish on multiple people. He was protecting his supports, covering the backline with the D Matrix. Overall, great performance from him and everybody else on the side of the Chengdu Hunters. It's pretty much impossible to point a finger and say like, they could have played better. This guy, he could have stepped up his performance. Everybody was very much on point. And yeah, Shanghai, they just really struggled to find some footing to try and fight back against that, especially on Garden. So now we have to see how they're going to reply as we get ready to move into our hybrid map of Eichenwalde. It's going to be our next one, where Shanghai is going to look to stabilize a little bit and try to pick up the pieces here. I think that they should be able to do this just because, you move off of control, which is going to be much more chaotic, that constant fighting that's going on. This is where, the battles often come in waves, and when it's a bit more measured play, there's a bit more time to kind of think about how you want to approach it. I do favor Shanghai, but if Chengdu can continue to just completely offset Shanghai Dragons, catch them off guard, keep the fights going for extended periods of time, they very well could grind down against Shanghai and get a win here.
So for Shanghai, this is going to be a good map for them. Gibraltar is going to be even better when we get to that. Well, that is a heavily favored Shanghai map. Hanamura, you start swinging things back over to Chengdu. So Chengdu's best chance of winning this probably comes from, there's a couple of scenarios. You have the 3-1 scenario, the 3-2 scenario. 3-2 scenario says that Chengdu lose this map. We have to go to that map 5 and then, back under control. Maybe Chengdu take us back to the Chengdu zone. We repeat what we saw into Oasis, and that's Chengdu winning the game. Or we're looking towards Chengdu winning Eichenwalde. And if they do this, even if they lose the next map after, which would be Gibraltar, Hanamura should still be good. Even if they lose Hanamura, you still get that last map in control back again. So Chengdu, just getting Oasis paves the way for them really nicely.
I mean, you see that stat line that we just had pop up in the lower third, and the only hybrid map that Shanghai has ever dropped to Chengdu was Eichenwalde. It was a long time ago, but it was this map. So maybe history will repeat itself here in 2021, and Chengdu Hunters can force Shanghai, of all teams, into a position for a reverse sweep. Granted, when they had to do it last year in the 2020 season, Shanghai Dragons were very reliable when it came down to pulling off those reverse sweeps, but more often than not, they don't get put in that position.
And Jimmer's coming through on the Tourbillon early, so there's not going to be any fire shenanigans, and, you know, Eichenwalde A has been a fire point at some periods in history for Overwatch. This is also DM coming to the roster over, you know, Lip, so we had a situation on Gardens where they weren't really dealing with Jinmu, and now it's like, well, let's put in the hit scan, you know, heavyweight of DMs. And for Shanghai Dragons, Brawl comp, straight into Chengdu. They've identified no fire. This is fine.
Well, we'll be the Reaper here. Start for Fleta. See, Mortality Field get eliminated. Lee Jae-gon with a sliver of HP. Get top back up here by Izayaki very steadily, but they lose out on the Diva for now, and it's a strong start for the side of the Chengdu Hunters. That being said, Gaga going to be eliminated. Lee Jae-gon pushing forward, finds Jinmu, killing him off with the boom. His fate drops down, trying to throw that fire strike through the window, but it's going to be a loss of the damage now here for the side of the Shanghai Dragons as they look to stabilize. They pull back up onto the high ground, back away, wait for these respawns to come through. And Chengdu can just go ahead and maintain control of this point, make sure that everybody's topped up, and get ready for the next wave.
We look at Monk again. I mean, this guy's dropping Bio-nades. He's landing multiple Bio-nade hits on the Shanghai Dragons, keeping his team alive. Nano available straight away to Gaga. He's already got the Primal Rage. And Shanghai just have to back out.
It dives his way in there. Izayaki Bio-naded, pulls back around the corner, waiting until they can get some heals. Grabs the mini pack inside the room. Should be stable enough to continue pushing forward. I mean, almost another window available for Izayaki. So, we'll see what they can get done with that.
No,
Leap up on the high ground. Oh, man. As I say, it gets the headshot. Follows up with another nice little dink there. And Shanghai Dragons just had to play back indoors. Good dodge there from Fleta on the flashbang. But as he pops out of the Wraith Walk, then will still fall. Elsa just beaming him down. And Elsa can just hold on to this Graviton Surge. Has not gotten to a situation where he feels pressed enough to use it. And, I mean, you look at the ults here. It's going to be 5v6 ultimates pretty shortly, as Monk looks to catch up with the nano boost, but this could definitely swing either way, but it's a great amount of time bought so far for Chengdu.
They need Izayaki to open up with the window here, but he doesn't quite have it yet.
The
The
Bio-nade's
huge fire
huge.
at the 3.
Forces out the beat there from Lee Jae-gon. Monk going to be the first one to fall. Void finding the kill with the Rockets. Immortality Field, however, now going to be gone, and Jinmu picks up Izayaki with the Molten Core, follows up for a second kill on the Fate and Void, lobbing the bomb around the back. Doesn't manage to find anything. Chengdu Hunters come out on top, and that was just everything used from the side of Shanghai. Only Fleta still holding on to the Death Blossom, but they have the Primal Rage, they have the Deadeye on the side of the Chengdu Hunters, and that Nano Boost is going to be on its way pretty quickly.
Sound Barrier was used as well. Immortality Field was used. They still fell. The grab lands. And Monk is really, really playing out of his mind currently. We saw some great flex support performances yesterday. Monk is that one for the Chengdu Hunters. Death Blossom available less than 1 minute. This is a very precarious situation for Shanghai to be in. They're forcing out the Primal. That's at least something.
Yeah, they do manage to find it. They're fighting away from the point. And Gaga into the back line. Just takes out Izayaki, cutting the healing by more than half. Now DM falling as well. Gaga going on an absolute killing spree. Will finally get finished off, but he trades his life for 3 members of the side of Shanghai.
By the way,
they have 35 seconds left.
Look at the comp from Shanghai. They swapped over to a Rush because Izayaki's on a Moira now, and this is Rush where you just got a +4. You just got to walk into the other team, run into the other team, speed into them, but it's constantly Chengdu that are opening the fight first. They have the initiative, and now they have the Nano again. They're going to pop this one probably onto Gaga. Death Blossom cancelled!
Yeah, they cancel it. They still do manage to get the punish, though. Fleta following up with the shotgun blast. Does find Elsa, but now the turn from Jinmu takes down Fate as he turns his back to it. The lessons out from Izayaki, trying to keep everybody alive, but he's not going to be able to chip away at anybody on the side of the Chengdu Hunters. Izayaki falling, the Deadeye coming through. They do manage to touch the point to force out the OT. Turret going to be cleared. Void dead. 17% away from that self-destruct.
Oh, the slave.
Flashbang in. Lee Jae-gon does not die. Takes a couple taps as Fate will receive that Bio-nade. DM going in with The ult doesn't manage to find anything. Fleta trying to drag this one back. Picks up a single kill. He's so low. The flashbang connects. Leave takes him down, and it's a full hold. No ticks, no percentage gain. Chengdu Hunters, they look to repeat that success that they have only found once on a hybrid map. I was teasing when I said maybe they could do it because they beat them once on Eichenwalde before. Now they are absolutely looking to pull this off. Shanghai have to reverse full hold them just to force a draw.
Man. Achilles, this is insane. This is so insanely good from Chengdu today. What is Shanghai getting crushed? They achieve very little on that attack. They never really got a good fight for them, and then when they finally had ultimates, there was that one big moment. We go back. It's like 5 ultimates for Chengdu, nearly 6 ultimates for Shanghai. We're waiting for Ixiaki to get this, Ant Matrix on board, and that was what should be opening the fight for them. And every single time they rotate, on transition, Monk lands this massive Bionade, instantly forcing a responsive resource from Shanghai, where they don't want to have to sound barrier early. They don't want to have to use Immortality Field early. But Monk is destroying them every rotation. And then on top of that, you have the fact that Chengdu actually had a pretty smart comp, but by running Leave on the Decree and Jinmu onto the Torb here, they can resist a Brawl comp much better, even though they're playing a dive core because they have the double bubble set up. Normally that double bubble could get run over if it's more brittle DPSs, like we're talking Ashe, Traces, stuff like that. Maybe even, the Fire, which DM I'm sure would just go towards a hit scan. And he already was one onto McCree. But the fact that the Torb and McCree was that your backline was very durable for Chengdu, so they resisted the Brawl quite successfully.
But Jinmu getting tagged up several times. He's just going to swap off, moves over to the Sombra. Leave back over to the McCree. And I mean, Shanghai, man, what a task.
They can only draw, by the way.
Yeah,
so
that's what I was saying. Yeah,
they're going to be down. They're going to be down no matter what.
So yeah, it still doesn't pick them up a win. Elsa now going to be moving over onto the D.Va. Just trying to mitigate some of this damage coming out from the Ashe, from the Echo. Into the back, Jinmu looking for the hack, finds it on the Void. No one can collapse to try to punish this, get rid of the mech. His fate takes quite a bit of damage and has to leap back to safety all the way over to the point. And you can see, Chengdu Hunters, they've already gotten through the initial archway, they've gotten through this initial choke. As long as they don't lose out on members now, they're in a very good position to pressure the point. DM gets caught on the flank. Everybody diving into the back, puts pressure on the Ashe. Now they get a headshot at range. Fate is gone. Bionade out on the Ixiaki. As Legion tries to stay alive in the skies, but Void is taken out. They're off the point, and they just absolutely steamroll them. Oh my goodness, Chengdu Hunters starting this series off 2-0. Shanghai Dragons now have to reverse sweep them. It's the second ever time that they have dropped a hybrid map versus Chengdu. It happens yet again on Eichenwalde, but in such one-sided fashion. Incredible play yet again from everybody on the side of the Chengdu Hunters. They absolutely dismantle the Dragons.
Did you see the faces of the players there, especially for Shanghai? You got Fleta just... He's got a finger on his head, like, what's going on here? You got, I don't know, like, your Fate doesn't know what's going on. Then you look over to Chengdu.
I don't know what's going on, but I love it.
And, like, turn the player names off. Let's get rid of the HUD. Like, who's playing against who here? Because it looks like, if you walked in this one, you think, yeah, Shanghai versus Chengdu. You imagine 2-0 up, yeah, it's probably Shanghai. Yeah, Chengdu not going to do too well, are they? But then you look at how things have actually transpired. Gardens was 100-0. Shanghai were messing. They were asleep. They did nothing. We go towards Eichenwalde, a full hold, no tech, no successful fight wins on the attack, and then Chengdu do like a slow one attempt, but it's a one attempt. You got DM getting killed straight away, a manual hack onto Fate, which kills him, an initial manual hack onto Void, which Jinmu's gotten repeatedly, which gave them neutral wins. So Shanghai, I don't know what's going on. They're asleep at the wheel right now. This is Chengdu in the zone, and I got to say, Chengdu zone is now just like the W zone. They might as well just be winning.
Yeah, I mean, it looks so great for them right now. Shanghai Dragons being pushed to the brink. Maybe the realization that they're down 0-2, that they're at match point, will finally wake them up. But we have to wait and see. They need to pull off a reverse sweep if they want to be victorious here today. Otherwise, Chengdu Hunters are going to be looking to start off their season 2-0. It would be a huge boon for them. We'll see what happens when we come back for that third and potentially final map in just a few minutes, so do not go anywhere.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile.
Alrighty, welcome back, guys. Woo! We are speed running this evening. As it turns out, I'm gonna just take a look at the time. It's 7:46. Avril, we've gone live not even 2 hours ago, and we're almost potentially through our second series of the evening. What is happening?
What is happening is everyone's predictions are boomed. Everyone's predictions are boomed right now. Everyone's rankings are boomed. It's all out of there. Forget about it all. Your eyes don't lie to you. Look at the bottom left. 2-0 in favor of Chengdu. If you just joined us, are you early? Are you late? I'm not too sure. That's not a typo. That's not a typo. Chengdu have destroyed Shanghai on Eichenwalde. That map was very surprising to me. And I think maybe the more surprising thing is Shanghai were very keen to run this brawl that ends up not playing as well into Chengdu's camp as you'd think. And I think, I'll go back to the point where Chengdu actually running the McCree and the Torb plays well into the brawl. And we never saw this brawl get off. We never saw them, roll into their economy properly. We never saw them get the ultimates. When they did get those ultimates, they got shut down in that one big fight. Shanghai basically had only one fight to try and cap A, to try and win, and they didn't do it. They didn't get any of the fight wins.
Yeah. I mean, it's just so very bizarre to see everything just completely crumble. I mean, Fleta, coming up with a few kills, but it just felt like overall nobody on the side of Shanghai Dragons could do anything against Chengdu Hunters. DM, like I don't have the stats in front of me by any means, and I'm sure he did get some elimination, some kills, but it felt like he was completely absent. They are going to be sticking through with DM. They're not going to be bringing Lip back in for this potentially third and final map as we get ready to go over to Watchpoint Gibraltar. But, I mean, things are just getting absolutely just out of control for Shanghai Dragons. They need to somehow find stability, but Chengdu Hunters, they're just not giving them a single inch. They're not giving them an opportunity to just finally, take a breath, reassess the situation, and come in with a new approach.
And Gaga, honestly, even on the Winston, super impressive. I thought, this guy is the ball guy. He's like Among 2.0. He's got the ball, but then some of the other picks, which is probably why Among's not starting on the roster. If you haven't caught up with Chengdu, this is the state of Chengdu currently as far as how they're using their 12 members. Speaking of which, Jimmy comes in for Jinmu here, and that's been the one substitution that Chengdu have been doing over the course of this weekend so far. Jimmy comes in to play primarily hit scan, so expect him on the Widowmaker, the Ashe, which leaves Leave over towards stuff like Tracer. And honestly, I think Leave should maybe go for the Sombra again, because the other part of Chengdu that's really working right now, ironically, well, maybe unironically, is the Sombra. And I say that because you have Lip on the other team, and Lip is like meant to be one of the best Sombras in the world, and somehow, I don't know that he's specifically getting finessed, but all of Shanghai getting finessed right now by either Sombra player on the Chengdu side, whether that's Leave or Jinmu, or in this case, it's going to be Leave.
Well, let's see what they piece together as we do jump on to Watchpoint Gibraltar, a last hope, a last bastion here for Shanghai Dragons. I mean, you're bigging them up here for this map, saying they absolutely should be able to take this given their history and their style of play, but we were thinking similarly about Eichenwalde, so who knows? Chengdu Hunters have absolutely turned our world upside down in these first two maps of the series, and who's to say that they can't do it a third time in a row?
By the way, Gibraltar is Shanghai's best map. 88% win rate. There it is. You can see it. 7-1. And it's not just because of the stats. I mean, you think about the comps we run here as well. Sniper heavy, favored. DM's in the lineup for that. Fleta can even hop on. The Hangzhou's good here. Ashe, Widow, all great here. And Shanghai Dragons, if they can't win on their best map, then they get 3-0'd. And at that point, everyone just forget about any Preds and rankings, because Chengdu just got the 3-0. That's still quite a tall order, though. I think Chengdu are ahead. I think they're looking great, but they got to take down Shanghai now on the 88% win rate.
Looks like Fleta chilling for a moment, trying to get word as to what is being run by Chengdu. Decides to go in for the Tracer. Tracer Ashe set up. Void on the Diva, Elsa on the Zarya. They start moving forward. Jimmy taking some shots coming through, just really chipping away at them. The Bionade on the Void forces him back around the corner as Fleta tries to bring the cart down into the underpass.
Jimmy, by the way, has a great angle in the underpass. I mean, we're looking towards Shanghai, just getting early push coming in. They want to just prioritize cart. They're not really fighting for the high ground just yet as Chengdu pulls back. Now when, the cart actually comes up the hill, this is when Shanghai want to strike on the high ground and take the fight over towards Chengdu.
Leave living up to the name, dips back up into the sky. keeping himself away from Fleta. Don't want to be in range of him by any means. Hard for now. It's going to be sat still. This is always, you know, one of the hardest parts of the map is getting that cart completely out of the underpass. So you can't easily be contested from both sides.
Trying to set up this collapse of him. That's why Fleta's onto the back line. That's why he's trying to flank around. And at this stage of the time, DM could be in trouble as well. DM!
Oh, that's just going to be the sticky bomb finish. He went in for the laser beam just in case. It wasn't going to be good enough. Fate does find Nisha, however, and the rest is there from Eichenwalde. So they put DM right back into the fight as Eichenwalde just goes out with the Valkyrie, cruising around the skies, trying to keep everybody alive. Transcendence going to be used. Nano boost out now from Monk onto Leaf to try to keep him up. It's not going to be good enough. Leaf and Jimmy both getting eliminated. Great little pinch there from Fleta. Finds the Widowmaker, who will get res back into the fight, but as Nisha's busy doing that, he's not getting heals out onto Gaga, so he does fall. So they get the res just for the kite back of the Widow, as the gate does open upon point A being taken by Shanghai. Looking much better, much more stable here on Gibraltar so far.
And really good late kills here as well. The stagger's going to be important. This is going to give Shanghai a lot of early momentum in this phase. They're going to have shuttle control as well. What you saw in that last fight, by the way, was a trade Nisha for DM. And at that stage, DM dying was pretty brutal for Shanghai, but they had the res from Lee Jae Gon. He's got to go for it. Nisha dying, no one reses him. So that's going to be a 5v6. Lee receives a nano, dies a DM via headshot, doesn't even get to use the duplicate, which would have also removed his own nano. See if Fate can survive the focusing beam. Does.
Does manage to stick alive here for a little bit longer. Leaf does have this duplicate available. He's going to use it, as we might have anticipated. Copies Fate, goes for the Winston. Dropping down, zapping away, trying to get that Primal Rage online. Hasn't been taking too much damage. The heals will come through just to top him up. Then out, Primal out, looking for some targets, just beating and batting. Void around, as can't jet away from him given the hack, but doesn't get too much done overall with that duplicate. For now, the cart is going to be halted up. That being said, Fleta pushes forward, finds Monk, takes him down. Fate pops a Primal of his own. Gaga going to fall. Void finds the kill. Natural hack comes out onto Fade, but damage is already done. Shanghai Dragons on an absolute tear at the moment here on Gibraltar. This should be them getting B.
And they just haven't done enough damage. I mean, Leaf's trying to go for focusing beams. The stickies are somewhat landing, but we're not confirming kills. Fate was the only one that really went low there. Lee Jae Gon even saved the Valkyrie for the most part until they really needed it. And of all the things that Chengdu tried to do, they got slowly rolled over there. Shanghai grinds this fight out. The card positioning is so good because of all the deaths that came through after 8 was capped. All the good positioning obtained by Shanghai. They're going to do the same thing again. Now we're looking towards the bomb. DM's even getting very high up close.
He is, in such a great spot. Dynamite onto both of these supports. Jump will come through. Doesn't have the coach gun right now to try to jump back. Doesn't successfully get peeled, however, as Void goes forward. But that being said, it's going to be EMP out from Jimmy, managing to catch on to multiple people. Fate does fall. Transcendence used by Izayaki to keep everybody alive. Anisha gets clipped, as you say, by that pulse bomb from Fleta. Struck up into the air from Elsa. Looks for a pick in the back. Will find Lee Jae Gon. Both supports are dead.
Maybe they'll recover this one. Nisha's back up alive now. He died in 95, but the rest of the team has held on, especially Gaga coming in. Hack onto Bob as well, took that out of the picture. For Shanghai Dragons, this is going to be a reset, very important fight win for Chengdu. That could have gone very poorly considering, getting Nisha down is another situation for Chengdu where Monk solo healing is simply not going to be enough. They have to get these good trades in. If they don't get these kills, Elsa got the bomb in there as well. All of these things slowly working in favor of Chengdu to keep them in the game. There's still 3 minutes and 20 roughly remaining for Shanghai, so building up a couple more ultimates, where we can find the picks. You see Gaga on the top side, he's unseen currently.
Void hacked, discorded there for a moment. Jagon in the air with the Valkyrie, just trying to keep everybody topped up here for the moment, but DM falling under the pressure. Big shots coming out of Leaf, forces the res. Dynamite in, DM is put right back into the ground. As quickly as he was brought right back out of it. Solid here from Leaf. Now dropping down over onto the cart, looking to break down this Winston bubble, get some extra shots woven through. It's going to be bomb into the back. Does manage to find Monk, can't make it far enough around the corner to keep himself alive. In the meantime, Fleta does get the kill on the Leaf. Nisha goes in, gets the res, but gets punished for it. They get the counter kill, as Leaf will fall yet again. Izayaki trying not to get pressured enough to use the Transcendence, does manage to hold on to it in the cart. Yet again, advancing forward, getting closer and closer to C, now just a few meters away. Transcendence and a pulse bomb here from the side of the Shanghai Dragons. Trans out, EMP comes in from Jimmy, does manage to find 3 members with the hack. Transcendence is there from Izayaki, however, keeps everybody sustained. Fight continuing as Fleta dips around the back. They spot Gaga. Now they look to move forward, but Izayaki dives off the start as the bomb comes crashing through. Bomb over the top, Elsa looking for a pick, and it seems like they should be able to stop him, but that being said, Fleta finds two of the pulse bomb, both supports. A huge play from him, but is it going to be good enough is the question. He's in on the back looking for Leave. Should be able to take him down, but Leave strikes him out. And now the tank's falling, means that Shanghai are going to be held yet again.
Once again, we look towards the DPS and the tanks being alive for Chengdu. They get the kills required when both supports die. And by the way, this comes in another precarious situation for Chengdu where EMP versus Izayaki's Transcendence. Izayaki's going to have that one available, doesn't get caught in the EMP. And then we're just waiting to see where the frags fall from there. Void initially gets the good fight for Shanghai Dragons around the corner. You see it forces Leave forward, gets him down. Monk even dies self-destruct. I think Monk maybe should have considered Transcendence in that one to stay alive. And they lost so much tempo. Chengdu have held on. It's about 1:10 left, and it's still doable Shanghai, but the Shanghai have lost a lot of momentum here. They've lost a lot of resources as well. Valkyrie's going to have to come into this one. Nisha's going to respond. If Chengdu keep Nisha alive and the EMP hits and Izayaki can't do anything, that could be Chengdu.
They're looking for the jump onto Monk. They take him low, but they haven't been able to confirm the kill. Nisha with that Valkyrie staying alive. Gaga gets on top of DM, finishes him off with the melee hit. Yeah, Rez brings Izayaki back into the fight, but Monk is going to be first on the Transcendence. The EMP coming through from Jimmy. Fleta gets the punish. Izayaki barely holding on, but Gaga comes steamrolling through and completely flattens him. Void out of the mech, and it's going to have to be a disengage here for Shanghai Dragons. One final fight to try to get over the finish line. Fleta spotted, should be able to escape.
See if the self-destructs work for Void, and you know, Void did win the fight earlier. Izayaki close to Transcendence. There's enough resource left remaining for Shanghai to make it work. There's no more EMP for Jimmy as well. Really important to see who Jimmy ends up getting a hack. If there's a manual hack into Void and he gets demech without using self-destruct, that's going to be Chengdu. Bob's nearly available as well. Chengdu can absolutely hold on here. This is going to get close.
Well, time ticking down, a few seconds left. Fleta going in, cannot find the stick. Jimmy, the first one to fall, so not going to be seeing any hacks coming through. Izayaki can breathe a little bit easier here. Doesn't have to get pressured into that Transcendence a little bit early. Fate up into the air as that Primal Rage does come through, but he's just getting focus fired. The Discord Orb in onto the Winston. Does so much damage. Self-destruct straight in onto the card. Not going to be able to find any kills. Elsa does manage to get the remake as Lee will strike down Fleta, getting a nice headshot through. Transcendence from Izayaki trying to keep everybody else alive, but Lee Gone looking to be the focus. As we just see these Discord Orbs flipped through. DM with a very nice shot onto Elsa, the bomb, knocking him out of the mech. They get the finish. The res is there onto Lee, but they have to play the card. They just cannot do it. Gaga comes charging back in, swapping over onto the Reinhardt, but now the heals are cut down. No supports available for the side of the Chengdu Hunters as Izayaki and Lee Gone will clean up the final 4 kills. The Shanghai Dragons do finish Gibraltar, but it's in overtime.
And Nisha gets caught again. Jimmy dies first, so I guess, you know, Nisha wasn't the first one. But you look at that situation where a self-destruct from Void, that was going to be one of the win conditions. That way you're looking towards Shanghai. What have they got to work with here? Void's won a fight with a self-destruct before. Lob's another one in there. Nisha's gone. Nisha's been first pick plenty of times, and that's really, you know, an issue for Chengdu. That was one of the times where the pulse bomb sticks onto both. Except in that fight, Leave, Jimmy, Gaga, and Elsa still held on. They got the counter trades. Leave, especially on that Ashe, has definitely been dangerous. And, you know, we talked about Leave's Ashe. We saw it in the stats before we got into game, before we got into the match today. Leave versus Lip. It's actually Leave versus DM, however, in this particular matchup. And when DM has room to work with, when Void makes that room, when Lee Jae-gong's alive and Nisha's not, there's no manual hack to stop Void, that's going to be Shanghai finding the small edges, small advantages that gets them across the line.
Still very close. Way close. Way closer than we might have anticipated. Too close for comfort here for Shanghai Dragons. Now going to be looking for a very strong start here on the defense. So Gaga just going to be going for a blind hook in hope that they can maybe find a Sombra lurking around in stealth. Fairly standard start for Gibraltar.
I think a lot of these fights haven't really gone towards too many ultimate impact fights. I say that when, you know, we have the self-destruction, the pulse bombs, but really for me it's been individual picks even in neutrals, and that's where DM's kind of the guy to look at. This is very aggressive coming from Chengdu early actually. Sorry, from Shanghai and Chengdu were just a lot of skirmishing, a lot of low HP bars, and first kill as well.
Yep, near miss there on the accretion for Jimmy. Falls quite low and DM manages to get him midair. Good pickup, and it's a very good start to the hold here as more and more kills continue to come through. Elsa falling on the back end of the fight. Shanghai starting things off on the right foot. Gaga now going to be swapping back over onto the Wrecking Ball. Elsa to the Diva. See if they can break through this defensive hold.
In as well. It's going to be Monk moving over to that hero. I mean, Discord's going to help for sure. Fate's already been discorded. Gaga on the ball is always going to be something that works well for Chengdu. They've lost a minute now. We haven't really had enough distance, but here it is. Could that be the kill required? Is raised.
Well, Fleta also getting hounded down. Elsa manages to find him, so Rez already burned, puts DM back into the fight. We'll have a Bob pretty shortly here. He's 28% away from that, so can use it to delay the card, especially in that underpass if they can stabilize before it makes it to the other side. Playing up on top right now are Shanghai, looking to just pick off the members of Chengdu as they're separated here for the moment. Fate going to be dropping down around the back, it seems.
A little worried for Nisha there because he was still pretty far behind, and again, Nisha has been first pick plenty. This is Gaga in trouble. Discord, Flitter can definitely do a lot of damage. Yeah, Pulse Bombs available. In fact, look at the ultimates for Shanghai. It's like a minute and 30, and we haven't had one proper fight. Just a lot of skirmishing, but when that fight breaks up and really comes in, it's Shanghai that have the resource.
Yeah, I mean, the defender's advantage being utilized well, and they just, had that initial foothold that allowed them to chip away, get multiple kills, and build up for these ults. So now they're in pole position to be able to defend point A, at least for a little while longer. It's going to be the Flux, gets the catch here onto Jimmy, but cannot get the final blow. It will be topped up here. His Fate has to drop down, burning away with the Discord Orb. Leave. In the meantime, finds Izayaki, doesn't get to use a Transcendence. Now Fleta is gone, and it is just a tidal wave washing over the Shanghai Dragons. Void finally managed to defend himself a little bit more as Monk does get taken out, but one kill just leads into everybody dying on the side of Shanghai, and that is point A for Chengdu.
It's also Lee J gone and dead as well, so no Rez to come on through. Izayaki has no idea how he dies so quickly. He just goes from 100 to 0. Lee finds him, probably on an off angle, just double blinks in, full round of headshots in that one clip, and Izayaki doesn't get to use a trance. If he trances, I guarantee you Monk has to then respond as well, so both teams will have to use a lot of ultimate. That works out well for Shanghai in the long run. Now Gaga trying to apply some pressure, has to be careful.
Do these swaps now, so they're going to be, starting fresh with this D.Va and this Brigitte coming through. So it's going to be a while before we see those ultimates. In the meantime, 4 online, Nisha nearly with another Valkyrie. That's the only ult they had to use to win that point A fight. They have a plethora of ults to work with as the card is already getting ready to come up this final little bend here towards point B. This is where it can get stopped up for a considerable amount of time. The minefield comes out from Gaga. DM falls, and Izayaki is dead. He doesn't get to use the Transcendence again. A huge play from Lee. Follows up to finish off Lee J gone. Now no support. It's a tank line getting ready to be broken down as Void is eliminated. Fate is alive. He does have the Primal Rage. He can try to buy some time, but do they commit in for this? Seems like the answer is going to be yes, as he lurks on top of the dropship for now. Seems like they have no idea that he's here. But no, they will just actually let B go over. Fate now, can he make it out to the rest of his team is the question.
They have to collapse. I mean, and Fate's in position. He's got to go now. The Primal's available. Finally gets a kill. Potentially got the Monk. He's struggling a lot, but they'll get him down.
Okay, does use the Primal Rage. Gaga as well eliminated. Good juggle there onto Jimmy, denying him access to the spawn room. So they get an extra little kill, but it's 4 minutes to hold this off. Obviously, if they get the finish, there'll be a minute added to the time bank for Shanghai Dragons, but, you want it to be even, or you want to just hold them. You do not want them to come in with more time than you have.
Now that B is what the difference is for Chengdu here, because Chengdu get a brilliant time onto B. There's very little resistance from Shanghai. We finally see a fight, and I mean, it's not really much of a fight because Izayaki gets deleted by Leave constantly. Leave has been really putting the pressure out on this Tracer. I think yesterday's Tracer was pretty good, but today his Tracer is really, really good when he's just killing Izayaki on repeat. We are looking towards Shanghai now, finally having more ultimates. They had those early kills as well. They're stopping the momentum from Chengdu. 3 minutes to bleed down. If we can see a few more Shanghai wins, especially off the ult advantage, this is where we can bleed the timer down.
Dynamite from Jimmy, not going to be able to find anything. Just holding onto the bomb for now. Jimmy scopes in, finds the headshot onto Fleta, alleviating a lot of pressure here for his squad. Bomb out, looking for a pick. Won't be able to find one, but Elsa safely pulled back. Has managed to get back into the back. Kill there onto Jimmy. Rez not coming in yet from Nisha. It's like too precarious of a spot to make it happen. There it is. They finally create enough space. The res comes through. DM now gone. The minefield taking down Fade. Chengdu Hunters starting to push the pace a little bit faster now. Rounding the final corner. Don't have any ultimates other than the Valkyrie about to be online. Only have to worry about a pulse bomb and a bomb so far.
Izayaki waits for Monk to trans before he responds, but when Izayaki uses Transcendence, half his team is already dead. Nisha's got the Valkyrie now. We need to see Fleta pressure with this Pulse Bomb. Jimmy takes away DM's bomb, and now it's still Shanghai just losing space.
Well, that's a good turnaround here as Monk does fall. The res, however, is available from Nisha, so puts him straight back into the mix of things.
Gaga lived.
Yep. Does not get eliminated. Good poking. Monk finding an opening. Leave dropping down. Has another pulse bomb available. Ziyaki without a Transcendence. Fate dies. Doesn't get to use the Primal Rage. So now he's going to have to respawn and come back into the fight. There's still a minute 45 seconds on the line here for the side of the Chengdu Hunters. Ziyaki eliminated. Void's going to be D-Max. Pulse bomb just lobbed in, keeping them zoned out of the spawn room. The pile driver gets the finish here onto the Baby Diva. Cart getting closer and closer. Fate comes diving in. The Discord Orb is there. He pops the Primal. Lee Jae-gon falls just 1% away from having that rally. Now the Transcendence out from Monk, rushes his way over onto the cart. They have the minefield, they have the self-destruct to buy space, and they come in and they more than double the available time for the Shanghai Dragons. 2 minutes and 25 seconds for Chengdu Hunters. They do not miss a beat here. They storm their way through to point B, and now they get a solid closeout on C to have an advantage.
And how many first kills are we going to see from Chengdu here that really just put Shanghai away? And we are seeing situations where Jimmy's finding these picks as well. Izayaki of the late Transcendence doesn't get to save the teammates required. Fake dies with Primal Rage. All these small things where for Shanghai, very individual mistakes in some cases, and it's just minor details that together end up giving themselves no benefits here. They're just constantly behind if that keeps on happening. And you know, there were a couple of good fights for Shanghai overall. I think A was a decent amount of slowdown. You're seeing highlights from, you know, the attack from Shanghai that end up being reasonable enough to get them across the line, let's see, but that was even quite a bit of a struggle. And because of that difference, it's now 2:25 to 1 minute. And 2:25 doesn't sound like a lot, but it's more than double the amount of time that Shanghai have. So I would even expect that for Chengdu in this opening defense, they can afford to perhaps get aggressive. They can have Gaga roll around, see what they can find. If Leave and Jimmy open the accounts again, picking off players like Izayaki, even DM is losing some of these jewels and forcing Lee Jae-gon to constantly go for reses. Some of them he's not going to be able to complete. This is where, you know, for 1 minute, Shanghai are going to be tested. They need a lot of distance.
Yep. Starting things off, Fleta looking to TP them across, swaps over to the Tracer now. DM sticking through with the Ashe. Gaga here on the high ground. Pile driver in, receives the Discord Orb, tries to roll out. They do not manage to get the finish on him. Can re-aggress here in a moment as he gets topped up by Monk and Nisha. Fate going to be matching, moves off with the Winston now over onto the Wrecking Ball.
Really important that Gaga, well, first of all, that he gets out alive, but then also for Shanghai to be able to survive against the initial dive in. Jimmy doesn't connect the shots required. I think maybe there was a bit of help from the rest of Shanghai as well. But if Shanghai start losing members off that Gaga play, they're in trouble. But they are going to be able to get the cart movement into a good position. 15 seconds remaining. If we can just get to the end of A, that could be enough for Shanghai, even if they don't cap.
Jimmy playing over here in the server room. Dynamite up over the top, does get taken away by the Team Matrix. The Discord Orb pulls back. Void and Fate both getting melted. They're trying to keep him in the mech. Desperately need that defense Matrix to try to mitigate some of this damage, but Leave off-screen manages to find Fate. The OT starting to bleed away. Can anybody even touch the cart? The answer is hell no, they cannot. They kill Gaga at the end, but he's creating so much space, causing so much chaos that Shanghai cannot stay on this cart. Great focus fire here from the Chengdu Hunters, and this is a very extremely winnable situation to 3-0 the Shanghai Dragons.
Distance doesn't look good enough. They need to get towards the end of A. Ideally, they cap in 1 minute, but that's, you know, easier said than done. You talk about, identify where the focus fire was, and this is something that Chengdu have been doing quite successfully, I want to say, for 3 maps now. You can look towards the other 2 maps where the Sombras are getting the correct hacks, focusing on Void here in that final fight. We both saw it. Void and Fate down to critical HP. Fate dies, but it's not like Void can do much more either. He's still low HP, and you need these tanks to be touching the cut when we get towards the end of that time bank, and if Fate can't be there, if Void can't be there, if none of them, if no one's there, I mean, that's why they didn't finish. We just had essentially what could almost be described as C9. I don't think it's truly one of those. It's not like Shanghai were winning and they just walked away. I know Shang9's a thing, but but that wasn't the real Shang9. That's like a 50% Shang9 at best. But but they still don't get to touch. They still don't get to continue that fight. It's pretty premature when we have a 5v5 and Shanghai just don't get to continue because, I mean, we couldn't contest.
Yeah. I was having an argument with Avast and a couple other people last night about this. Not a C9 unless they were winning the fight and then don't play the objective. Shanghai were absolutely not winning that fight. Jump coming through from Fate, looking to get in on top of Monk. Monk's actually chasing him down into the stairwell. He's like, I'm not afraid of you. I have a Discord orb and incredible accuracy, as well as teammates to back me up. So forces him back over onto the defense. And Skaga just peeking up onto the high ground here, seeing if there's an opportunity for him to roll in. Will not see one, so just joins in on the cart.
Still 1:50 left to go as well, so it's decent time remaining for Chengdu. We haven't seen any ultimates really get pushed up. I mean, it's just another, again, skirmishing. No team's really committed. That's actually decent for Shanghai. The longer Shanghai can draw this out, the more time they bleed down. As we get into the overtime, Shanghai can still pounce and they complete the fuller hold. That's what they got to go towards now. It's actually going to be the Mercies that will find the Valkyries early, and beyond that, though, it's got to say Jimmy. No. It could be one of the DPSs. It's either Leave or Jimmy that always gets a pick.
Izayaki just managed to find Gaga. So Elsa going to have to be the one playing around on the cart. Monk gets rid of Izayaki. Huge pickup here from him. Fate goes forward, gets a pile driver in to punish the enemies, and Yada falls low, has to pop his own shield. Minefield nearly available to try to create some space and get them off the card. But that being said, Void is gone, Fate is dead. The Mines are not going to do anything, and as you say, that should be it. Lee Jae-gon's going, and he's desperately trying to get the resurrection. He cannot do so, and against all expectations, here, the second day of the 2021 season, Chengdu Hunters meeting Shanghai Dragons for the first time on Watchpoint Gibraltar. They take them down. They get the 3-0 victory. What did we just witness? This was absolutely incredible play from the Hunters the whole way through.
History, Achilles. We've witnessed history. That is maybe the most impressive Chengdu Hunters performance ever against one of the most impressive teams. Maybe not in this particular game, but Shanghai have that reputation about them. How does Shanghai lose 0-3, especially the manner of which they lost 0-3? Oasis didn't go to a third round. That was a 2-0, one of which was a 100-0 on the score. Go to Eichenwalde, that was a complete roll, start to finish for Chengdu. Shanghai didn't play Eichenwalde at all. They were completely missing. Go to Gibraltar. Give a little bit of hope here, giving the Shanghai fans a little bit of hope. Starting to see some kills coming on in. Void's doing a little bit of carrying. DM's maybe getting some kills as well. Their Flitter's doing some stuff, and they may be working their magic, and they will get the cap, albeit only in the overtime. And then Chengdu have the better time back. So, I'm going to say it. Chengdu played all three maps better than Shanghai across the board the entire time, because Chengdu, better time bank. You look towards that final fight as well. Jimmy opens the account. He gets the opening pick. The Leave Jimmy duo, even putting Jinmu in there, I truly feel today, Seth, that Chengdu play their DPSs, or their DPSs perform better than the Shanghai DPSs. Flitter and Lip and DM, I don't know, man. Like, outside of a couple of highlights on Oasis, they didn't look like they were doing a lot.
Yeah, they really did. I mean, I agree with you. I think that this is maybe the best Chengdu series of all time that they've played, start to finish. They've obviously had maps and flashes of brilliance, but I think this is absolutely the best series that they have played. If nothing else, it's the best one that they've played since they went up against Vancouver Titans in Season 2, because that was another incredible series from them where they really played, above and beyond our expectations. But this, a 3-0 over Shanghai, is just absolutely incredible from them. And I don't, if anybody who's had this for their pick'ems, then congratulations. You deserve all the points that you just netted yourself. We'll go ahead and take a look at our player of the match. And, it's not going to be a surprise for you, Avril. You are absolutely spouting about him from the very beginning. Our player of the match is Monk.
And, I mean, look, I said this during the map as well, especially on the Eichenwalde. This is when Monk and Chengdu were at their most brutal one-sidedness versus Shanghai. Is that a descriptive way to put it? And a lot of that comes down to Monk. Like, every single time, I mean, look at this, the sleep on the Fate as well. Every single time Shanghai want to make a rotation, they're intercepted, Monk's dropping in all this utility that just lands perfectly. He's just, the skill shots are landing time and time again on cooldown. Individual picks across the board. I think on Gibraltar, other players started to take the limelight a bit more. You didn't see as many crazy highlights out of Monk. You're seeing a lot more of Jimmy and Leave. Jimmy and Leave really, for me, on Gibraltar, kind of carried that game and just, again, opening up those first kills. But Monk, for the first two maps, absolutely just put Chengdu in the lead. And that 2-0 lead potentially, you know, that could be the mental boom for Shanghai. No, it's crazy. Like 2-0 already is an insane lead. But then to finish at 3-0, unreal.
Yeah, just nasty play the whole way through, whether it was the Ash or the Zenyatta. Nisha as well, shoutouts to him, was a very good comrade here from Monk, constantly going in, getting those reses off, and being able to escape with his life more often than not. But here's the stats for Ana. Almost 16,000 healing done. 12 biotic grenade kills, 19 eliminations, and 5 sleeps the whole way through with that Ana. I would love to see some of the Zenyatta stats as well, because I imagine that those were pretty incredible, especially if you put them side by side next to Izayaki, who didn't really get to play the game today.
I mean, Izayaki just like dies with trance, really. I mean, dives with trance on repeat when Leaves walks up behind him, assassinates him.
Yeah.
And Izayaki just barely got to play the game. I feel like I was casting alarm from yesterday again. It's pretty brutal. Shanghai, I don't know what's going on, man. Like, I don't think anyone really predicted a 3-0 for Chengdu. I think even the most hardcore Chengdu fans who would give Chengdu 3 would have been realistic enough to at least put down a 3-1 or 3-2. A 3-0 just, it sounds like, you can't even say that. No one can say, yeah, Chengdu 3-0 Shanghai with a straight face, because it feels like it should be impossible. But here it is. The impossible is now absolutely possible.
Yeah, a fairy tale result here for Chengdu Hunters, and what a great way for them to close out the opening weekend. Can fly high, have that 2-0 starting record, just absolutely wonderful. I mean, I think we're going to throw to a quick little break, but when we come back, we're obviously going to dive a little bit deeper into this series with our crunch time, because there's a lot to unpack. It happened really rapidly, really quickly, so we got to take a closer look, put it under the microscope. So that's coming up in just a few. Don't go anywhere.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Xfinity, the preferred internet provider of the Overwatch League.
what happened, because there's a lot to unpack. So we're here with our game break presented by Cheez-It Grooves. And if you're just joining us, maybe you just woke up. I know it's pretty late. It's in the middle of the night for some places in America. Yeah, the stats, they're correct. Everything that you just saw when you woke up, it's all real. Chengdu Hunters have 3-0'd the Shanghai Dragons.
I know.
This is not an alarm. This is not a test. This is not a drill. This is what has happened. This is the reality that we now exist in.
It's like you wake up from your coma. It's like, what year is it? And also, how did Chengdu just beat Shanghai Dragons? I don't understand what's going on here. But to maybe help you understand a little bit in terms of breaking it down, like one of the key factors for me about what Chengdu were doing this game that we're doing so well is their focus fire, their targeting, specifically looking towards the Sombra, targeting as well. You look towards Oasis, consistent neutral hacks onto manual hacks in the neutrals versus Void. Look at Eichenwalde as well, shutting players down. EMPs were honestly really, really good coming through from either Leaf or Jinmu, especially Jinmu. Like, a player that I didn't expect, by the way, to be a really good Sombra, and maybe Leave it, we'll add that into the conversation. Both these players, you don't look at them and say, yeah, Leave was just really good Sombra. You don't look at Jinmu and say, yeah, Jinmu's this really good Sombra. Jinmu's the Farah guy. Like, this shouldn't be happening. But time and time again, they're able to find these dives, they're able to find these situations where they know what targets they need to go for. In the neutrals, it was target Void, get Lee J gone, get Izuyaki. We look towards the manual hacks that came through onto Fade onto Eichenwalde as well. We look towards a lot of situations where the combination of damage and tanks landing on the correct targets, knowing where the pressure points on Shanghai was and how to break them. This is why even when we got to Watchpoint Gibraltar, I was still saying, like, yeah, we're playing Sombra again. And maybe the answer is just, you got to target Void one more time. Take Void out of the equation. And honestly, Void, outside of that one grab eat on Oasis, and Void played the best he could. It's like, there was a whole meme of Void rage quitting out of the server yesterday versus Guangzhou. I think like now, after getting 0-3 by Chengdu, that might just be more real than fake. That might not be a meme anymore. No, I am joking, but at the same time, like, what a brutal situation for the Shanghai Dragons when you have this coordinated Chengdu team, the most coordinated of Chengdu that I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, all the changes, the roster additions and whatnot that have happened during the offseason, it seems to have worked out so incredibly well thus far for the Chengdu Hunters. Obviously, it's still early days. It's going to be, while overall a shorter season, still a very long grind to get through all of the matches and whatnot, let alone the tournament play and whatnot to lead up to playoffs. Things could change, but this is such a fantastic way to start off your season. They're starting off hot, and if they can continue with this, Chengdu Hunters for the first time might be maybe the best team in APAC, at least a top 2 contender. There's obviously teams that we are not seeing this week, such as NYXL and whatnot, but this is such an incredible way for them to kick things off when they have always had middling to poor results. So to come in here and just really assert their dominance off the bat, start things off 2-0, it's just incredible. So I'm sure you're in the same boat as me. We are very much looking forward to seeing how this team is going to continue to develop, whether or not they're really going to have to play around with this starting lineup too much. Like, do we need to see Yveltal when Nisha's playing this well? Do we see any swaps on the DPS when they continue to excel? So I'm curious to see, what pressures will make them make those adjustments if they happen whatsoever.
Who knows, man? I mean, there's 12 members here, and they have some power on the bench still. Like I said, Kaneki is someone that I'm looking out for on the Chengdu side. The guy who plays a great tracer, but I probably slept on both Jinmu and Jimmy, especially Jimmy. In my mind, I was like, do you really need to swap Jimmy in? Like, surely Leave and Jinmu can just cover it, or Leave and Kaneki can cover it. But you look back at that Gibraltar, and question has been answered. Like, Jimmy was getting those first picks, man. Like, this Chengdu roster is for real. And I honestly, Chengdu, to me, have been this mega volatile team. This is definitely Chengdu at the highest of the highs. From now on, looking at Chengdu, I'll just be really looking at, can they keep it consistent? Can we keep Chengdu consistently high, or is this going to be a one-off? That will be the next test for Chengdu.
Well, time will tell. Looking forward to seeing more play from them, in the coming weeks. But that's going to do it here for this series. That's going to do for our game break as well as our crunch time presented by Cheez-It Grooves. But guys, we're not done yet. We have one more series this evening. Coming up next, it's going to be the Philadelphia Fusion going up against the Los Angeles Valiant. So don't go anywhere. The action continues in just a bit.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Cheez-It Grooves. So much flavor, it's a mind crunch.
Alrighty, we are back already. Just a quick little break so we can just continue on with the action. We've kind of been speedrunning things here tonight thus far. So back-to-back 3-0s for our first 2 series. Now we get ready to go into the last one. Philadelphia Fusion certainly hoping that they can get a 3-0 over the LA Valiant. But we'll see. I mean, LA Valiant, I think that they kind of exceeded a lot of people's expectations in their first showing. Now we have to see how they fare versus Fusion, who are coming off the back of a strong victory from yesterday.
But that's the problem, isn't it, Seth? Because Philadelphia Fusion also exceeded people's expectations. So now it's just like, if last night we saw a weak Philly and we saw like a good Valiant, and we did see like a reasonably good Valiant compared to what we maybe thought. But if that were the case, then I would walk into the series like, yeah, man, like Valiant, let's go. Maybe that's possible. Maybe Philly with their new roster isn't quite working out. But, dude, Philly coming in with a new roster, we're absolutely banging. Like, holy. Philadelphia are looking like a fantastic team right now. You're saying it's a speed run of an evening, 3-0s across the board. Look, Philly are probably looking at a 3-0. My eyes would be on Valiant to see if they can maybe resist that, put up some maps. They put up one map versus Chengdu. And Chengdu just beat Shanghai, so, transitive property, guys. Let's think about it.
It's true. It's very true. Well, we'll go straight into the rosters here. Starting with the Philadelphia Fusion. I mean, it's not shocking. These are the players that they have in Korea, so they're going to keep playing with these guys. And I was one of the ones that kind of like looked at this, and I saw when they picked up Rascal and picked up Toby and Hotba, that they were still going to have success, even if they couldn't get Funny Astro and EQO and them out here in the country. This is still incredibly strong players, guys that have performed at the top. And, I'm just going to say, I never doubted them. I think a lot of people getting caught off guard by their win from yesterday. I think that they were just doubting unnecessarily. Rascal, he still counts.
Well, I don't think anyone doubts individual members. I think when you look at all 6 members in a vacuum individually, they've all been playing exceptionally. They've had great histories in the league. I think that was never in doubt. I think it was more just coming down to, how does this team function with the newness of it? Because they came in with very, very immediate substitutions. When I say substitutions, I'm talking about like immediate players being signed in. And now looking over towards the Valiant, obviously we saw some decent players coming through. You had Milan Run probably being the one big guy to look out for on Valiant. He's been around for a while. Milan Run on that Tracer was probably, the one area of Valiant that was giving them a good shot versus Chengdu. You had that kind of hilarity across the board in some other areas, though, like Wuya dropping off the map in Volskaya was absolutely hilarious. And I think Crystal needs to step up a little bit as well. As the one guy that has been in the league, Crystal's probably been maybe a little bit underwhelming compared to how he should be, really.
Yeah, I can agree with that. So we'll see how he fares now coming in for their second series. But like you said, I mean, Crystal, he's been around the block. I call him the bellhop because he's a bag collector. So we'll see what he can get done versus the lineup of Carpe and Rascal. And I mean, these are two of the tougher TPS that you could try to come out here and have a stronger performance. But we'll keep our eyes peeled and see how things develop. We are on Busan to start things off. And right out the gate, he's seeing a swap up here as Mono's going to be sticking with the Winston Silver 3, going to be over on the Wrecking Ball.
This, by the way, is Valiant's strongest composition. So if Valiant have any hope at all, it's going to come down to this. Crystal and the Ash is what you need. Milan Run of the Tracer is absolutely what you need. They're going to be going up against the double bubble of the Philadelphia Fusion. And it's going to be Zarya coming through from Silver 3, and immediately Rascal dies.
He does. Sleep Dart in onto Shochung. Will fall, but it's widely the fight going the way of the LA Valiant. Good pressure, just everybody pitching in simultaneously. Carpe only going to be able to find one extra kill on the back end there, so will get eliminated, but this will be the first cap going the way of the LA Valiant.
All right, well, there it is. Philly fans already molding, I can tell. I get it, I understand. You've just lost a fight to the Valiant. It happens. Happened to Chengdu. It's going to happen to other teams. Valiant can definitely play. Milan Run got that damage, and Crystal got the opening pick, and we talked about the fact that, maybe Crystal needs to step up a little bit. Hasn't been what we'd expect. This guy's been in the league before. Actually looked pretty decent on Hangzhou when he was on there. And now he gets an opening frag. Just caught onto Mano. Let's see if they can keep the damage up on the Valiant side. And they do.
Yeah, Carpe dead. Dynamite goes through. Crystal finding the kill. Silver 3 just playing up here into the front lines. Crystal's under a little bit of pressure, but we'll get some heals coming through. Gets the headshot, eliminating Rascal yet again. And it's just going to be Wuya, the only one to fall. So, I mean, the delay, the transcendence a little bit further here. He's not alive to just poke and prod at the enemy team. But 40% already established for Valiant here downtown. Carpe is dead again. Crystal, oh boy. Talk about a step up. He is looking phenomenal here at the beginning. And they need to do something very quickly here to try and deal with him. Bob now going to be chalked out. Shochung manages to find both supports. The Nano does get used before Alarm goes down, but it finds no value really. They get the flip there for just a moment, but 6% and it's right back into Valiant's hands.
What's going on? Crystal is just finessing on top of everybody again. I mean, this guy's collecting the bag, and there's a bounty on Carpe, there's a bounty on Rascal, and Crystal's like, it's all mine, you know, I'm the bounty hunter here, I need that money. Shocheng getting those kills. Everyone on Valiant's actually performing reasonably well. Milan got early damage as well, 70+%. Alarm pops in and now he's, you know, at least changing over. Carpe gets that first kill, so finally.
Follows up for a second one. They only lose out on Hotba so far. Rally rolling for both of these Brigs. The Transcendence from Yat does expire. Still fighting away from the point right now on the Philly Fusion. Looking for a couple more picks so they can get their way over there and get the cap coming through. Uyat going to fall. Carpe getting the shot. Rascal dead yet again as Crystal returns to the fight. Good Dynamite is out there from Carpe trying to chip away and burn them down, but Hybe will barely manage to survive. Feeling the pressure, Alarm pops a Transcendence. They're looking for the back cap at the moment. Will be able to find it as Mono plays away from the rest of the squad. They finally establish control, but can they hold it the whole time through? Up to 100 is the question.
Alarm did have to use Transcendence there. Great first pick onto Malara to slow things down in terms of the reset for the Valiant. Hybe staying alive as well, just keeping the Valiant in there. If Hybe goes down, I think the rest of Valiant get cleaned up big time, but that would be really awful for them retanking. You know, they're at the 99%, so only one fight required. It's Carpe versus Crystal for me, because Crystal's definitely been getting the kills earlier on, but now Carpe's woken up in this particular map. If Carpe gets the first kill, it's going to slow things down. If Valiant get that first kill for Crystal, they might just win the point.
Looking for the cap again. Milanron trying to go in with the pulse bomb. Doesn't manage to get a stick. Just duking it out here with Rascal on the point and maintains control for the Fusion. Nearly at 50% now. It's a very scattered fight happening on multiple fronts. Minefield's going to be dropped in from both of these wrecking balls. Bubbled up. Carpe a little bit low. Has to pull back to safety. Flip comes back in. 99% here on the board. Now Fusion have to be in onto this point the whole time through until they can get this flip back in the favor, but it might not happen. Hoppa is gone, Rascal's dead, now Toby dead on the back end. It'll bleed away at 153%. Such a strong start and a strong finish here from the Valiant. They take the first round.
What is happening today, Seth? Chengdu just beat Shanghai. Valiant just, okay, it's one sub-map, one round. Okay, well, I'll chill for a second. Let's go to Mega Base. See if we can repeat that. Silver 3 got the opening pick there. And that is when things start breaking quickly for Philadelphia. You need to see Carpe and Rascal get some cleanup. I think Rascal was the guy that died, actually. And it was basically a neutral. I mean, there weren't a lot of ultimates to play with. It's going to come down to who gets an opening pick. I thought maybe Crystal was going to be that guy, but Silver 3, Shocheng's even showing up as well. Hotbar and Mana on mega low HP, couldn't keep up. Here we go. Can Valiant make it a 2 out of 2?
Oh, well, I'm not moving away from the Tracer's going to be going for the Doom Fist alongside Crystal Sombra. Rascal sticking in with the May, so we'll see if this forces any kind of swaps. For now, just playing a part up on the high ground. Throwing in damage where they can. And it seems like Fusion want to maybe go for a reset or collapsing in to help keep Alarm alive. So they do manage to take down Milanron. So solid start as the point becomes unlocked.
Milanron maybe oversteps there. I mean, he needs to be able to work with Shocheng, who's really low at this stage. You already have a player advantage as Milanron comes back in. You've got a health advantage as well. You got the cap coming through. Mano's like, Mano can survive, but he still have this.
Yeah, they do keep him alive as he drops down onto the point. Carpe playing low as well, just staying in behind this right shield for the most part. Follows him forward. Mono being saved for the moment by this immortality field. Does not fall. Hotba as well. Makes it through the hack. We'll hold on to this. Crystal getting closer to the EMP. Still 30% off. Fusion, they're playing well far forward now.
They need Nano. Wuya needs this last 10%. He's under pressure. Bionades himself. And Matrix for the timing as well. This is a great tempo play. If you can Nano Silver 3, he can get to the back line. Oh, he doesn't do it.
But he's dead. And Carpe, yeah, he finds the flag. Clean up now coming through. Fusion, they're holding this.
Then Matrix is going to charge up the rest of the ultimates as well. It's going to be sleeping to manual hack from Mano, but there's no opportunity so far for the rest of Valiant to maybe connect. EMP will be up next, and they're going to have to dump a lot into this fight. There's still a couple ultimates we're missing. Importantly, Toby doesn't quite have the sound barrier, so this is going to have to come down to Carpe, Rascal, putting down a great wall, using the ice block. Maybe the Blizzard can save them. Crystal? What was that? He just translocated away.
Oh no, it's catastrophic. He gets the nano. It must have dove in front of it and then didn't realize in time as he hits the translocation, but the nano just completely gets wasted. The Deadeye finds two. Milanron's dead yet again.
Oh, no.
Hasn't even built up for a single meteor strike yet.
That was supposed to be Valiant's fight. Now Toby does have a sound barrel. He's about to get one. Now Rascal does have a blizzard. I mean, the timing was almost perfect. I thought the nano was on purpose. I was like, yeah, I don't know, nano, crystalline, go for the EMP. Perhaps that could be a play. The EMP will be in now. Toby will counter.
He does manage to use it, but the blizzard gets off first, and Carpe picks up 2 kills in the back and in defense mode. Meteor strike forced up from Milanron. He's going to use it aggressively. They get the space jam, finds 2 kills, but is that going to be good enough for them to get onto the point they have to touch? They barely managed to do so, but Carpe is here on cleanup duty, playing the role of the janitor for the Philly Fusion. Cleans up the mess that is the LA Valiant here on Mecha Base. Throws out the Deadeye just to try to clear the point even further. The bubble will buy just a little bit more time, but Silver 3 falls, and that should be the closeout. Crystal tags in for just a moment to extend. Pile Driver now down on the side. Missed time on that shatter. Doesn't actually find Shochung, but Milanron on the re-entry is instantly dead. The flashbang connects. They get the knockoff on the Wrecking Ball, and it's a 100-0 reply from the Philly Fusion. And it looks like Carpe is playing pissed off. He was tired of getting picked off regularly there in that first round in downtown. He comes in with a vengeance and absolutely shreds the Valiant.
Pretty hard for Carpe to get picked off when, like, the Valiant can't even confirm a dive there, because, you know, we're not even... Shocheng's not in any situation, or Silver 3 rather, not in any situation where the dive can happen. There was that one situation where it was like, okay, Silver 3's in here, he's low, Nano's available from Wuya, let's pop the Nano in, go for the dive, we can find a timing here, that's the time for Valiant. Then there was that other fight disastrously where Crystal receives a Nano, translocates away. Remember how I said the best composition for Valiant is Crystal, Ash, plus Milanron, Tracer. The rest of them can play the standard dive picks between Double Bubble, whatever other version. But this is the one. This is the comp that Valiant basically need the one trick if they want to have any hope of winning.
Well, they have the mirror matchup coming through. Mono swinging out as he gets discorded. Milanron almost dead on the entry. Does manage to get the recall off in time. Snaps back. Pile drive coming through, shield bash on a mono, but he can just go ahead and cruise out of there. Carpe in the meantime manages to get a shot through onto Wuya. Dynamite over the top, just going to be burning down. Mono does fall, so they lose their front lines. The point is unlocked, but Fusion should be able to push over and start getting this cap coming through. And Valiant, yeah, they just don't even want to contest it, just have to let it happen.
I mean, Carpe's woken up for now. I mean, he needed a bit of a warm-up on that initial downtown. You look towards Mecha Base, he's angry, he's furious, and that just continues now onto Sanctuary. Crystal is at least somewhat keeping pace, not that far behind in the Bob. It's the kill into Mano as well. If Crystal can just get some of these trades, I mean, really for Valiant, it's pretty clear. Crystal needs to kill Carpe, or Milanron needs to put the pressure to Carpe. There's some damage. Carpe's on half.
Chipping away at him, but they cannot finish him off. Silver 3 just playing around the back, trying to get the minefield online to create some space on the point. Wuya has a nice opening kill, taking out Rascal. Getting the headshot there with the orb. Now with Hotbot falling, this is going to be the big breakthrough that Valiant been looking for. They gain enough pressure here onto the point to inch forward and get the cap into their favor. 33% is all that's snatched up here for the Fusion. So definitely not, you know, a losing situation yet here for the Fusion, but it's a solid turnaround for Valiant, and they have multiple ultimates getting ready to come online.
I mean, I don't want to speak too early, but this is like definitely kind of competitive. Like Mecha Base wasn't, forget about that one. But right now in Sanctuary, because we're playing the good comp for Valiant again, it gets competitive because the DPSs can have impact. Milanron can find these opening picks. Rascal, how many times has he died first? He's at least been pressured still. Pulse Bomb nearly there.
Bob finished off. Pile driver here as they try to focus fire on Hotbot. It's going to force the Transcendence out from Alarm. Wuya still holding on to his own, but Milanron out of the fight as Carpe finds yet another headshot. Rascal just playing up here around the Wrecking Ball, playing around the pillars, trying to stay safe. Transcendence used. Rascal going to be looking for the setup here pretty soon. Pulse Bomb does go out, doesn't seem to find any kills. Flux used from Shochung. Slaps him back down to the ground. Cannot find anything. They lose out on the Wrecking Ball, so all that disruption, the chaos that comes through is now going to be gone, and Hotbot with the accretion will finish off Shochung. So it seems like Fusion, after regaining control, should be able to extend this for quite a while.
There's an opportunity there. Maybe Crystal thinks about the Bob, play the 5v6, find the counter trade, force Hotbot to use the Flux as well. That would be ideal for Valiant. Now Hotbot can actually just open the fight with the Flux if he wants to. It is 50% plus. It's still pretty even. It's 53 to 52 at that stage.
Yeah.
So Valiant at least still keeping up, you know, individually, and I think that's the biggest takeaway is you have to remember, say what you will about, you know, the team overall, but actually individually, some of these members do actually match up, and that's been happening across the board. Here comes that Flux.
Oh, and it's going to be a pretty beefy one. Puts him up into the air, slaps him back down. Shochung's going to fall, and it's a great capitalization here from the rest of the Fusion on the back end of the ult. Wuha, the only one currently alive, does get finished by Carpe, so an extended team kill. And now 80% on the board here for the Fusion. Still a ways away. Alarm 30% off for that Transcendence. Right now it's just going to be the Bob online first.
Crystal actually reset his ultimate there. I actually don't know if he had any anyway. He was on the Widow for half a second. In either case, it's about to be 99 for the side of Fusion. They will have the Bob available, like you sort of mentioned, and there's not really anything online for Valiant, so if there's any way for Valiant to win, it's going to have to come through neutral again. Crystal, Milan run. Somebody has to get an opening pick, and they lose Wuya.
Yeah, they lose Wuya now. High B is gone. No supports in the fight here for the Valiant as Fusion look to close out a first map of Busan. Alarm under a little bit of pressure, but dips away from the pulse bomb. Tossed out there in desperation from Milanron. And the cleanup will come through. Philly Fusion, after a very questionable and rough start, they answer back in a pretty convincing fashion, especially Mecha base. They take Busan 2-1.
I think for Philly as well, it's just like, all right, we'll reset a second here. And what's interesting to me is if that was a different game mode, if we were on, you know, like hybrid, escort, whatever, anything else where the momentum can continue off the back of, you know, that opening from Valiant, they could really do some further damage. But that reset between downtown, then into Mecha base, and by the time we got to Sanctuary, I think Fusion just realized what they need to do. They kind of figured out Valiant a little bit. Valiant also not doing themselves too many favors on their comp. You know, it's not really the map for that. You're probably not going to be running Dive with Tracer Ash on Mecha base, to be fair, but trying to go for some Sombra Doomfist kind of thing, where Crystal Sombra, is that a thing? Like, does anyone think Crystal Sombra is like, that's the hero we want to see? Milan run Doom. Doom is like not a hero you want to be playing unless your name is Sparkle, or Mirror maybe not because Gladiators lost, whatever. Valiant though, it's not the best. Not the best comp, not the best situation. They didn't start getting good again until Sanctuary, but too late.
Yeah, too late indeed. Well, that's Busan out of the way. Now we have Eichenwalde coming up next for Hybrid, so we'll be diving into that in just a few minutes, so don't go anywhere.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile. And by Indeed, we help people get jobs.
All right, welcome back, guys. We're just about to jump into map number 2. The team's getting, riled up. They're raring to get into the action. So we already have Eichenwalde getting ready to kick off. We'll get that up on your screens here in just a second. But man, what a start! Crazy, beginning there for the Valiant, taking that first round. But it's a very swift and punishing turnaround from the Fusion to be able to take Busan.
Absolutely, but let's not waste too much time. The game is getting underway here. Gates are opening. We're looking over towards Philly Fusion. What is this going to be? Brawl, nice, good. They're good on that comp. Rascals May, excellent, as we saw yesterday. LA Valiant looking over towards Dive. It's Crystal and Tracer. Milanron on the Echo. Maybe the Echo could be good. I think in a vacuum, the Echo is a pretty decent pick. Philadelphia are going to go back to spawn, make a couple of changes. Alarm on towards the Ana, and they are going to play a Dive Core. Okay, well, this makes sense because they're up against an Echo, and they are very much respecting Milanron's possibility of popping off on the Echo.
Well, already asleep onto Silver 3. We'll see if they can do anything on the back of it. Just lobbing some shots in, and Carpe. He already finds Crystal, punishing his swap onto the Tracer. Kills coming through. Bione now out into Silver 3. They get the shield bash as well. Carpe will scoop the second kill. And already it's the Fusion in onto the point, and that is going to be taken here, barring some sort of miracle turnaround. But with Milanron dying this late into the fight, there's just nothing at all that the Valiant can do. So we dive straight into the game. Fusion dives straight onto the point. 5.5 minutes in the time bank.
I am a back alley composition peddler. Could I interest you in another Los Angeles Valiant Ash Tracer combo where it's Crystal on the Ash and Milanron on the Tracer? Could I possibly interested in anyone in that? Because I think that could be where LA Valiant need to go back and to find some success. Have you ever seen Carpe this angry before, by the way? Just getting into that a little bit. We've talked about Decay angry, but how about the Carpe angry? Because that was pretty nuts from him as well. LA Valiant still trying to find the opening into this fight. Philly Fusion haven't stopped pushing.
Yep. Start not really being contested too much. They tag into it every now and then, just to try to keep it halted up. Good shield bash down on the Rascal, but he can safely recall back up onto the high ground here, just playing around the ramparts. There's Carpe just lurking in the back, looking for any head that he could possibly click on. Mono in the meantime, pushing forward as that nano boost rolling, just zapping away as both supports will fall in the end. Alarm claiming one of them with the Bionade. As the cleanup comes through, Milanron and Crystal both still alive. Pulse Bomb is here for Crystal, but can he even do anything with it? Not yet, at least, as the whip will go ahead and finish him off, and the cart continues to plow through Eichenwalde streets.
I've never just seen a Nano Winston just scatter a defense like that. Like, he walks into the castle and Valiant like, oh, we're all going separate directions. It's like you turn on the lights in the kitchen late at night and everything just scatters away. Los Angeles Valiant, can we find something? Where's the net? Is there going to be a grab? This grab comes from a hopper.
Yeah, right in on top. Shojung's going to be finishing himself off in the end with a right click. Milanron tries to go for the duplicate onto Carpe. Does manage to take him out, and Crystal comes up with 2 kills. Hop on Alarm, both eliminated, and that's going to halt this card on the bridge for now. Mono leaping back to safety. Crystal ready for them, does get shield bash, recalls to safety, and will go ahead and exit. So a little decent time by now here for the side of the LA Valiant, and Milanron's going to be swapping it up, moves off the Echo now onto the Sombra.
I was actually going to say the Transcendence was, it probably should have saved more members, but still had some losses there for Valiant, but the rest of the members that did survive post-Transcendence were able to get a lot of work done. Grav is now online finally for Cho Cheng. This is where for LA Valiant, Pulse into Grav has to be that combo we're looking for. Milanron, a hack with the Hopper would be ideal here, but look at the card position. It's very far up.
I mean, the card is just rolling in. They finally realized this. They send the Wrecking Ball, the rest of the team does rejoin, but just a few meters away now. Yeah. This is the whole team. This creates a lot more space now for the Philly Fusion to get gathered back up and get ready to, start sieging across this bridge.
Valiant never have an initiative. They have to get this grab in there eventually. Carpe's trying to slow this down again. Dead-eye in the open. Valiant just can't respond. They need to go into a team fight, but who are you going to grab? Because it's just going to be Mono.
Yep, Mono leaping down, looking to knock them around here just a little bit. Grab does come through from Shochung, as the Pulse Bomb's going to be eaten by Hot Bus. It denies the Big Bang combo. They still do manage to find 2 kills at the back end of this. Transcendence used by Wuya, keeping the rest of the team alive, and Crystal will finish off Toby. So seems like the hold can extend for a little bit longer, but Carpe, he's looking to say no to that. Gets a flashbang kill in onto Crystal, but now is under a little bit of fire, so has to try to pull back and stay alive. Seems like he's going to be safe for the time being, but the Valiant, they will be able to defend this card.
Ivy with a couple of kills there as well. You did see the hack come through into Hopper, just to make sure they weren't going to stall extra. Milan run 85%, so that's not bad. It's going to be EMP as the win condition. And honestly, now that you look at the time, despite the card positioning being very far forward, because there's only like 2 minutes left, if the snowball defense can happen for Valiant, so we EMP, start finding some other ultimates, Booyah gets another Transcendence, and they just survive against the Philly Fusion, we can take this to overtime for sure. I mean, Valiant have that capability, but this EMP needs to land for sure. Toby could be there to cancel it. Alarm doesn't have a Transcendence.
I'm barely missing some of these shots here on a Milanron, who does find the natural hack onto Mono. Nobody in a position to really capitalize and try to get rid of the monkey, so we'll be okay. Sorry, the scientist, I should say. Gotta be respectful to Winston.
Nice. The correction is we're waiting for Milanron to really pull the trigger here. Oh, you're down. Okay, this is that EMP.
EMP does come out, manages to find both of the tanks. Hotbot trying to hold on here. They're pumping heals into him as best as they can. Deadeye from Carpe gets a finish onto the Baby Diva. Double kill for him, and now as Crystal will fall. Hoppa still continuing to play forward, has that self-destruct if they need to buy enough space, but wants to hold it for the castle phase. And with that recall, the kill out, or rather the translocation out from Milanron, the cart does move in. So 2.5 minutes, not nearly as strong of a time bank going into the final stretch here of Eichenwalde as we might have anticipated, given how this kicked off. There's some very good time buying from Valiant there, the second spot.
Still enough time though. I think the 230s are going to be good enough for Fusion here. We're going to move over towards some compositional changes. Mine onto the Rhine. Rascal for the Junkrat as well. So let's spam through, see what happens. And Silver 3 is going to try and dive in with the bubble. But, you know, if he overstays as well, that's going to be Rascal pumping in the major damage.
Yeah. Good for the pile driver into the back. So a little bit of damage, but receives quite a bit. Discord orb out onto him. Has to play safe. Rascal getting chunked. Slowly top back up as we round the final corner. Carpe still just sitting here on this high ground. Looking for these heads. Can't quite get the hit there on the Milanron to try to get a finish onto the enemy Sombra. Hotbot in the meantime playing well over into the side. The rally's coming out as you do say, so everybody getting armored up now. Appa still in danger of losing this mech. And it does have the self-destruct to get himself back in, but positioning not going to be too good to try and set up for a major bomb. So wants to hold on to it. Is able to do so. Alarm under pressure. Silver 3 crashes through, manages to find the kill. He does not pop the Transcendence, but it doesn't matter. The turnaround starts to come in as Carpe and Rascal find a kill apiece. Cart still continuing to inch further, closer into point C, closer to this throne. Milanron just trying to farm, trying to get that EMP up, and it's just 4% away. The Deadeye out from Carpe to try to buy some space. They need to get Silver 3 out from behind the cart. The EMP will come through, interrupts the Deadeye, but Carpe says, hell no, does not matter. Still manages to get him in mid-air. Self-destruct now going to be thrown over towards the throne. The bubble is there from Shochung. It's going to be good, keeps himself alive. Minefield there from Silver 3. Does fall on the back end as he tries to create some space for the rest of the squad, but Philly Fusion continue to persevere. They find 2 kills in the back end of the fight. Alarm is back in the mix of things and still holds on to the Transcendence.
Yeah, so is Booyah as well. Valiant have actually done a reasonable job just slowing the game down. What happened to the tie from Rascal? Crystal gets a solo kill onto Rascal while he's trying to get a kill on that tie.
Push it back!
They had a grab.
That's a painful one.
No.
It's a great play from Hotba. He sees, he knows that they're getting ready to move in that moment. They want to touch it in the last second. He charges forward with the boosters, gets that boot back, and it's good enough for them to roll through. So they do manage to finish with time. This absolutely could have been an OT hold.
They were laughing to the bank on that when you see the face of the players. You look towards Valiant, they're like, oh no, Milanron knows.
What have we done?
Yeah, that could have been a much better defense. And I was dishing out the compliments, and I was like, oh, this is a decent defense. They've put down the timer. It's been, you know, a good slowdown. Rascal's Junkrat Gambit doesn't really pay off, and Alarm's not there. He's dead. He's not there for the trans win. The EMP rolls through, and it seems like a reasonable slowdown from LA Valiant to at minimum pushes into the overtime, which would be ideal when we start thinking about time bank situations. However, now that we roll things around back into LA Valiant attacking, can they finish the map? Because we don't even want to talk about time banks if they're not going to finish the map yet. And it could just be, honestly, Achilles, you look towards that last moment. Sure, LA Valiant don't touch. The Grav wasn't used. The Transcendence wasn't used. But we might not even get to see. This has to be a very good attack now from the LA Valiant to really push us to a point where that wall matters. We can find out the last couple of moments there. You see Silver 3 trying to come on in. Good boot from Hotbar as well. And just LA Valiant weren't there.
I mean, Hoppa gets the boot, but it's poor communication there from the Valiant. You know, nobody calling for Crystal to go and touch the car. Absolutely could have done so. But yeah, they get scrambled. They get so reliant on, you know, Shochung being able to push in to get that tag, and it costs them dearly. So somebody check on Taysonde. Might not be feeling well after that end of the map. See how they pilot this attack now, though, as it's still going to be Milanron here on the Sombra, trying to farm up. Pushing out the side, taking quite a bit of damage. Carpe is just trying desperately to get the kill. Hasn't been able to do so yet. Hack not quite going to be completed, but Rascal falls. Booyah finds a kill. That's a great opening here. Sleep Dart does go through. They get the anti-nade on the Silver 3, however, and Carpe will manage to find the finishing blow. He's looking for Booyah now. Takes him low. Hasn't been able to get the finish, but seems like for now, they've bought enough time for Rascal to rejoin.
This is really interesting gameplay from Valiant as well. And I say interesting, I mean, like, it's not really working. Milanron's been slipped here. There's going to be pushed back. I was expecting Milanron to just go for the invis, find a hack for the dive, but he's gone for the farming instead, and I don't know if they'll have time to farm. They actually have a fight going currently. Silver 3's low. They get mana first.
Yeah, good Discord Orb out, but it's going to be traded as Sochunk falls, further delaying that Graviton Surge, which he has not been able to build up that much percentage. Just now at 39%, so he has to wait to respawn. Still playing up onto the point, but Carpe is alive. Recalls back to the opposite side after taking down Crystal. Now Sulfur 3 is gone, and Fusion, yet again, they manage to persevere. They come out on top, and it's 2.5 minutes remaining for the Valiant. They have to win on the back of this EMP, but they have no other ults to couple with it.
They didn't even get a tick. It looked like they were going to win that one. Then Carpe came on through. Angry Carpe gets a couple of frags again, and not a single tick. We have another 6v5. We've seen Valiant 6v5s before. EMP lands.
Does manage to connect on multiple members. Alarm falling.
Got a kill Rascal.
Hack now going to be expiring. Rascal is alive. He can use the duplicate. Silver 3 going to fall, and Carpe, of course, is still in the mix. He's in the back line. He's got the pulse line online. He's going to move forward. He finds the stick. Doesn't manage to get the kill, however. Cannot get the takedown. And that is crucial here for the Valiant. Swinging through, Toby stuck. Pulse bomb from Crystal is good. Eliminates the enemy Brig. We'll see how much more he can do. Trying to tick up here onto the point at the moment. First tick almost on the board. The cleanup now, no DPS. The front line broken down. It's just the supports alive. With a minute and a half remaining, this will be the Valiant taking point A.
Good tenacity shown by Valiant there. I mean, look, it was looking like it was sliding down poorly. They get the 6v5, they get the big EMP, and you're still not entirely confident that's enough for Valiant to hold on, because Carpe's still there, Rascal's still there. He survives EMP, has a duplicate available. But then it comes down to the Valiant surviving through Perseverance. 3 minutes and 45 is going to be enough to, you would imagine, push through. They have the Graviton Surge, which we didn't get to see on the CD fence. Same with the Transcendence from Booyah.
Well, so far, Fusion not committing to the cart yet.